And I think we're live on air. Excellent. Oh, well, it's time to pop the old chat out so I can keep track of what everyone's saying. Yeah, I know, I was a little bit late. Oh, wait, I've got that volume on. I need to get rid of that. Okay, wow, so many people here. Okay, I have to do the polite thing and say hello to everyone. Who's that? Beatles fan and someone with a bunch of numbers, 24. And Biori and Redfoot and Shadow Eyes. And I think that's everyone. I've said hello to who's done something in the chat. Hello to all of you. Look, we have a special guest tonight. Although she's just showing you her butt. That's my cat, one of my cats, Mimsy. She's facing away. That's really impolite. There's a little perch that she sits on sometimes just next to me here. So, yes, hello, Charlie and Tara and Celtic King and Toriana. How you all doing? No, Mimsy's still not being polite. I'm just noticing my drink looks orange off through the video camera. Looks a bit more brown to me. It's not a great colour, to be honest. Presentation is a big part of a drink, so that is not the most appealing colour drink I've ever made. So, but it's a drink and it's doing its job. Yes, it does look very orange, doesn't it? It is a mixture of red and green. Hey, Patrick, how's it going? Sorry, saying, cat showing your its bum is respect. Well, I have very respectful cats then, because they certainly live up to that stereotype. I've always put them. No, she's still facing away. She's just sort of scratching and licking themselves. Yeah, Celtic King, you're saying it looks like urine. Honestly, it's a bit brown of it as like, okay, if that was my end, for someone's urine, they'd have serious health problems and need to get themselves to a hospital right away. But yes, it's you know, one of those things. The drink decided to go a particular colour. It is what it is, and you know, I don't think we need to worry about that. Just gonna quickly fix something up here. Oops, finger slipped. Taking out the trash, as the saying goes. And gone, and we'll just taking out the trash, getting rid of someone, and that's all good. And we can go back to things. Okay, so back in the main chat. So how's everyone going? We're halfway through the week. Project Redfoot. This looks like fruit punch poured into a bottle of piss. Actually, that's probably a reasonable approximation. Celtic King, all well, thanks. Here, urine. That's what normal humans say, urine. Patrick, you like my glass? My skull pint glass. I used to have 4 of them, and I got them years ago, and I've progressively broken them of these. One I don't think was my fault. I literally was just dropping ice in the glass, and the impact of ice cracked the glass. The glass is not meant to crack when you put ice in. The other 2 I dropped, smashed. So I got 1 left. I think it's more. Hey, Cliff Jumper and Jahatma. Oh, it's never Tuesday morning. Oh, wait. No, wait. God, why did I think it was Wednesday? It's only Tuesday. Mimsy going to turn around and say hello. You're going to say hello to everyone? Yeah, you say hello, Mimsy. Just going to go back to sleep now. She's not usually. She is not usually here at this time. But that a little perch made for her, and she's decided to grace us with her presence. Toriani, you want an OtterBox screen protector and phone case. I assume that's good. 24. Heard of the event. What is the event? That is a pretty ambiguous question. You're probably going to have to be a little bit more precise for anyone to know about what it is you speak. She's going now. I've been enough of a distraction in her life. You must leave me. She'll probably go, Mrs. Angry's watching TV. She'll probably go out and demand to sit on Mrs. Angry's lap. To which Mrs. Angry will no bugger off, you sit next to me. She's a hey Toby. She's a nice cat. She's getting old. She's like, I don't know, 13 or maybe 14 years old. Hey, musical aviator. Yes, the cat is worth the like button. 24. You're going to have to say a sentence that means something now if you want anyone to follow what you're saying. Apparently, by March, we will move to the 5D Earth. Yes. No, Mimsy's still hanging out. What are you doing? I think maybe I spilled some food on the floor earlier, and she's interested in that. I had halal snack pack, and if I dropped any of that, she'd be way into that. Musical aviator, what's Moomba? Moomba is like if Mardi Gras was organised by 60-year-old Rotarians. Yeah. Great day. No, I know, Toby, not likely to get a dog in this house, and absolutely, definitely not a Great Dane. Although my son wants a dog, but he wants a small one. But having two cats. Yeah, no, she's licking the floor. I must have dropped something earlier. Having two cats makes a dog an impractical thing to get. So I don't see us getting a dog, which young Mr. Angry thinks is unfair and discrimination, I'm sure. But are we talking about 5G? Okay, then I know what it is. Yeah, 5G is just a new mobile data transmission protocol, which theoretically would be faster, would allow more data to be transferred in a mobile sense. David Hill, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria, original Ghostbusters, which prompts me to throw out, everyone goes, yeah, unpopular opinion, and then says something that everyone agrees with. Well, I'll throw out an unpopular opinion. The all-female Ghostbusters remake is considerably better than the original. Not just good, it's considerably better than the original. The original is really kind of crap. It all rides on Bill Murray. Without Bill Murray, there isn't even a movie there. And in the female Ghostbusters, the acting's better, the script's better. Obviously, the effects are better. That's a kind of cheat to say, oh, the effects are better. The effects in the original Ghostbusters were quite good for the time. But as I said, unpopular opinion, I'm not scared to say it. The original Ghostbusters is incredibly overrated. Panoply, you have a cat and 2 small dogs. Yeah, I think it's just the nature of our household that there's only one person who wants a dog. So we're not doing it. Project, are you saying the effects in the new Ghostbusters are worse than Jurassic Park? See, okay, yes it is, no it's not. That's completely legitimate because it's just opinion on entertainment and it isn't even that important. But saying something about effects in Jurassic Park being better, that's objectively wrong. Sorry, you have 2 dogs, 3 cats, 2 goats. No, we're not going crazy. You got an 8-year-old ginger cat and 2 Jack Russells. I'll tell you, you think I should get a snake? I have to admit, I was actually in a pet shop that had a reptile section the other day because I just like looking at them, and it had snakes and lizards and stuff. And I did find myself going, "That'd be kind of cool. I like snakes. I like lizards," but I didn't. But yes, you're right that special effects date themselves really badly. Although, again, I recently rewatched Lord of the Rings, which is like 20 years old, and holds up really well. Sometimes you really notice the effects, but most of the time it holds up really well because they mix live action, real sets, real props, with models, with CG, with macro models. Like they made models of Minas Tirith and Helm's Deep and stuff. Whereas their model of Helm's Deep was about 3 meters high. So it was a model, but it was on quite a large scale. So they could get some really good tracking shots through it. But yeah, for a 20-year-old movie that was quite reliant on effects, the Lord of the Rings trilogy was pretty good. Oh yeah, Toriyama, I agree. The books are immeasurably better than the films, but they did a very good job with the films. It's kind of fascinating to watch because they left some stuff out of the films, but then they added some stuff in, like uh, making the female roles better. I understand because Tolkien just didn't write good female roles, but some of the stuff they just completely invented. I found myself going, "Why did you do that when you cut out so much stuff?" I'm having trouble understanding. But you know, hey, I didn't make a huge, really successful film. And hello, Sugar and Joe. So, yeah, it's pretty fun. Panoply, you make a good point that with books we're able to fill in a lot of stuff. It's always in our heads. I did like, there's a joke, so one of my favorite websites, The Onion, did, like when the Harry Potter series of books became so popular, it was a real uptick in the number of kids reading books. And besides making J.K. Rowling filthy rich, a lot of people were really happy. It's like, hey, look, so many more kids reading books now. And there was, there were articles, headline things like Harry Potter reintroduces kids to the magic of reading books. And then when the movie came out, The Onion ran an article headlined, Harry Potter films reintroduce kids to the magic of not reading books. Oh dear. Oh, Toriana, you're on board with leaving out Tom Bombadil. I didn't miss Tom Bombadil. The bit I liked with Tom Bombadil that was missing was the hobbits getting taken by Old Man Willow and also the Barrow Wights. So those were two good things that I missed not being in there. But Tom Bombadil himself, not that sold on. Oh, Mimsy's coming back. You say hello. Mimsy came back, showing you all her butt. She got back to a little perch. It's really weird. It's just a box there, but we like put a shopping bag on it, and because your cats like to sit on things, like she always sits on my laptop case, and we put a shopping bag there and told her, "This is your spot. You sit here," and so she does, and she likes attention. Look at that. She likes attention. Be cute for everyone, middle-aged Mimsy cat. I think she's going deaf, actually. She's not middle-aged. She's old from a cat perspective, like probably 14 years old. Yes. Oh, that's interesting. We're talking about audio. I don't think I've ever listened to an audiobook, ever. Project Redfoot, you're saying you like the Star Wars audiobooks, and they also helped you get into Star Trek lore. There was a thing going around that if you put a piece of paper on the floor, a cat would sit on it. And I tried it with our cats, and they didn't. But we did that because I noticed she would sit like she sits on my laptop case, and so put that bag there. And I noticed her sitting on shopping bags if I left a shopping bag lying around. So put it there, and it's a perch for her. She likes it. She sits there. Jatma, audiobooks are worse than tetanus. Okay, that's hardcore. Oh, 24, you like the Aragon audiobooks better than the movie. Yeah, movie did not do very well. Yes. Yeah, you're right. Shadow Eyes. Cats like boxes. Yeah, my cats still like boxes as well. Oh, Tariana, I missed. I thought you meant you were okay with Tom Bombadil not being in there. I missed what I said. Yeah. Yeah, I was never very clear on why they lift stuff out. Would you listen to audiobook Mark Tufo Zombie Fallout, read by Sean Runnett? Okay, cool. Oh, sorry, your cat snuggled up to your shoes. This cat, Mimsy, has taken to sleeping next to me on the bed, demanding a bit of attention, like want a pat and a scratch, and then she'll go to sleep next to me. She used to sleep between my feet. Like I had to like lie on my back with my feet apart, and she'd sleep between my feet. But now she sleeps next to me. I don't know why she changed. Whereas our other cat, who's a little bit younger, Shadow, likes to stay out all night and sleep during the day. We have a purple blanket on a bed that she's obsessed with. We just call it the purple, not even the purple blanket. And she sleeps on that all day. So they're very different. Mimsy sleeps at night and during the day, whereas Shadow sleeps during the day and runs around all night. We're going to get into I like the chat, Mark. Physical books are better because they last forever and need no batteries. Not really. There's lots of things that can damage and destroy books. They don't last forever, but you don't need technology to read them, which is a plus. But then again, some people have, there's a number of reasons people can have physical problems reading books, and audiobooks work for them. I think, it's down to what you like. Yeah. Oh, 24. I hope Disney do a reboot of Aragon. If they think they could make money out of it, man, they would. They I laugh sometimes. Say, why are they making this movie? Why are they doing that? Why are they doing that sequel? Why are they doing that reboot? Because they think they're going to make money. The answer is literally always because they think they're going to make money. Now, if you're lucky, there are people involved in the production of something that have an artistic vision, that have some integrity, that want something to be good, and they produce good art or good entertainment. But that's not the reason it's made. You know, unless it's made by a government body with taxpayers' things and is never intended to make money, then it's art. But commercial films are made because somebody thinks they will make money out of it. And we just get lucky with the ones that are actually entertaining or artistically good. Oh my God, Toriana. But you're coming there. Audio books are good because you can listen to them as you go to sleep or while doing things around the house. In my head, before I read it properly, I thought you'd written audio books are good. You can listen to them as you go to sleep while you're driving. No, that would not be a good thing. That would absolutely not be a good thing. But it isn't what you said. It was just in my head. 24. That's why movies are getting worse. Look, I don't think movies are getting worse. I think we get some very good films. Interestingly, like the Academy Awards were just on. Not that the Academy Awards are a definitive arbiter of quality, but yeah, they can be an indicator. And it's interesting. I'd actually seen most of the best picture nominees, the ones that had lots of nominations, also being best picture, and the two I hadn't seen, I was really close to seeing. Like, I haven't seen Phantom Thread, and I haven't seen Call Me by Your Name, but I almost saw both of them. But I'd seen all the others, and I thought they were all good. Celtic King, Aussie, keep AngryAussie safe to humanity. Reach hither thy finger, behold my hands. Reach hither thy hand, thrust in my side. Be not faithless, but believing. That's some good old school Christianity for the doubting Thomases of the world. Feel my wounds. Which is apparently, if you ever see an old medieval thing when someone says zounds, apparently that's a contraction of God's wounds. And it's an exclamation point. Pablito Morales. Do I think Pulp Fiction is tarnished by association with Harvey Weinstein? I think you ask a very interesting question. My short answer would be no. Because I don't think it's that much about the producer. They're just the people with the money. I think where it can be tarnished by the hands-on filmmakers, like some of the stories that are starting to come out about Quentin Tarantino make him fucking questionable at best, and very fucking sus. But I'm not a believer in what's the phrasing I'm trying to say? Reassessing. Hi, Celtic King. I love me too. Where I would go, like someone like Harvey Weinstein gets exposed for what they are, like horrible fucking vermin. With older stuff, it's like, okay, he benefited from the fact I like that and paid money to see it. But that's in the past. I can't take that money back. I could choose to not put money towards something that he would benefit from in the future, and that is a choice I would make. But I can't change the past, so I'm not necessarily going to change my assessment of something. Celtic Cushion Man Crash. Jack, we're asking the big question: are you a little drunk, Celtic King? That seems like a pertinent question, quite honestly. Not I'm judging. I try not to judge. But yeah, Pablito, that question about when you hear about like what a horrible piece of shit Kevin Spacey is. You need to get water. You can get water. People might see your reflection, but you know that's okay. People might see, you know, like, okay, Kevin Spacey's a horrible piece of shit. So should we never watch a film from the past that Kevin Spacey was in? Like, there's quite a few films Kevin Spacey has been in that I like. I liked his performance in. I'm all for, okay, don't reward this prick in the future, but, you know, I don't think it's completely valid to judge things in the past by what we want now. I'll show you NBN's being pants. I hope you get it sorted out. Celtic King, simple letters. Look, I sent some letters back to people a week or so ago. One was to Toby. Is he still here? He should have his mail. I meant to ask if he had it. Oh wait, I had some more mail, I think. And the other ones were actually I sent to two friends overseas. I sent them special Vegemite. Oh yeah, 24. You get made to sign up. I'm on the NBN now. I got lucky as far as I'm concerned. After I connected to the NBN, my internet connectivity improved. I was really, really fucking dubious about it. I was really worried they were going to make my internet connectivity worse, but they actually made it better. So that was a plus, because I was not super keen on the move, and they made it clear I didn't have a choice. So I feel really lucky that I actually got a successful connection. Like, it upgraded the performance of my connection. Yeah, see, 24, yours slowed down. That's what I was worried about. But particular wireless, like I'm doing this on my laptop wirelessly, so much faster. I couldn't, prior to the NBN changeover. I moved house a year ago, and noticed about the time I got the notification that they were going to force me onto NBN, that this house's internet connection was way worse than my previous house, and it like really sucked, quite honestly. And so we did the change, and it got better, which is yay, you viewed. Toby, you haven't got a letter yet. Okay, I hope it arrives soon. Let me know, because I kind of thought it should have been to you by now. We'll see. We'll see. Well, I'll probably do a live stream on Thursday night, and I hope you have it by now. Joe, I like that. You're in Telstra Shop, and there's a slightly obscured sign that was meant to say it's how we connect, but all you could see was it's how we con. That actually does sound about right. Tara, yes. You see, I had a cable connection to my house because I had Foxtel cable TV, and that was as fast as you could get in Australia. And in my previous house, the download speeds were very fast. The upload speeds were shit, and now they're much more even. And I can do this. Pablo, get philosophical, my friend. Get philosophical. But you are right. Garbage humans can produce good art, and this is a real challenge. And then that leads us to should we enrich garbage people because they can create good entertainment or good art? I think that is an interesting moral question. And of course, garbage human, the definition of a garbage human varies from person to person. I mean, there's a whole bunch of fucking right-wingers out there who think I'm a garbage person, okay? Who's a garbage person depends on your point of view. So, but I mean, so many of the great artists in history were fucking arseholes, but did create amazing and enduring art and or entertainment. So yeah, it is an interesting philosophical question. Never back away from being philosophical, Pablito. I'm all about being philosophical. Joe, the old story about if Hitler's art was appreciated, would he have been so angry? Toby, what's my opinion of masturbation? I think masturbation is underrated. Honestly, I think it gets a bad name. I think everyone should do it more. I mean, for instance, okay, so we've had discussions before here because I've made friends online who are sex workers. I like escorts, work in brothels, they do porn or whatever. I've never actually like paid for a sex worker. Oh, but stripper. I've been to strip clubs, not for quite a while, but I have been to strip clubs. You know, out with the lads, going to a strip club, but I've never paid for sex. And it's not because I have an objection to that. I've made it clear I'm very supportive of that type of work, but I think the reason a lot of people get fucked up and do weird, like get weird attitudes about sex and fuck up relationships, is because masturbation has a bad name. I think everyone should do it more, honestly. 24. Watch a video where 200 people a year die from touching themselves. I think that would be factually wrong. But then again, you get stories about how many people die from falling off the toilet. So who knows? I mean, it depends. People, Toby, absolutely be angry wankers. I think you've summed it up there, my friend. Should be angry wankers, definitely. People dying while pleasuring themselves. See, it depends. Some people do risky stuff, like Michael Hutchins doing autoerotic asphyxiation, you know. And a lot of people actually end up doing quite extreme things in their sex lives that can either cause injury or death. So I don't know. Maybe, but I guess also 24. It depends. Uh, uh, it depends how broad. If you said worldwide, 200 people died while they were masturbating, I'd go sure. Of course they do. There's a lot of people in the world. A lot of people die. So it's the thing. Well, Pablo, now you're asking the big question. Do I think Australian politicians should pull themselves more? I think probably a lot of Australian politicians would be happier if they masturbated more. I think it would level them out a bit. So I'm very much in favour of Australian politicians masturbating more. Kesler, what do I think about people dying not being able to defend themselves? I have a suspicion of where that's going, but that's such an ambiguous statement. I don't actually know for sure what you're saying. In what context are people dying, and what is it they can't defend themselves from? 24. I don't believe Jesus ever did say it's a sin. Possibly Moses did. Possibly in the Old Testament Jewish books of law, there might be something prescribing masturbation. There's a thing about spilling your seed on the dusty ground. But that's the Jewish books of law. And honestly, you can't just follow some of those unless unless you follow all of them, I'm not on board. Oh my God, Joe, you hit the nail on the head. Joyce needs to masturbate much more because he makes way bad decisions with his dick. He makes awful decisions with his dick. 24, you're right that a lot of churches of all faiths do actually say masturbation is bad. You are in fact correct that a lot of the churches say, "Oh my God, did anyone see?" There's a really funny video that got distributed online. I think it's Jehovah's Witnesses elders talking about masturbation because it is a sin, and they were defining what is and isn't masturbation, like rubbing up against the pillow but not orgasming. Is that and because they're these super straight old dudes just trying to have a serious conversation about masturbation, it gets really. Okay, Kesler, you are saying what I thought you were saying. Nobody in Australia dies in a situation where a gun would have helped them. If you're going to say really stupid things, I am going to treat you like you are really, really stupid. Oh, Charlie, Derek and Clive. Yes, they had some pretty out there stuff about Jesus having a wank because his hands were human. Well, that would make sense. 24. What do I think about pedophile priests? I think they should all be in jail. I think the Catholic Church is an abomination. I mean, this is one of those handy guides when it showed like a really disturbing percentage of serving Catholic priests were sex offenders. If you want to know, is there some double standard at work here? Just imagine in your head if Muslim clerics got exposed as being sex offenders to that degree. Would people be quiet about it? No, I don't think they would be. Hi, Stella. How are you? And Pat, do I think video games cause violence? No. Uh, do I think some already traumatized people, unstable people, probably aren't done any favors by video games? Yeah, probably. Do I want my life defined by that? No, that's fucking ridiculous. I get particularly upset with people, notably in the US, but not limited to the US, who say, no, there shouldn't be any gun control whatsoever. Guns aren't the problem. Oh, you know what we should do? We should censor video games. We should censor movies more. We should censor. No, you can't say, I'm not going to take any steps whatsoever against the core problem and attack something that is way out on the periphery. As soon as someone does that, I know they are not someone to be listened to. Kesler, that is like a colossally shit argument, and I'm not surprised you're making it. You say, if yours is such a terrible culture, wouldn't criminals just 3D print weapons to feed the demand after come by? So this argument is put forward by people who think they're serious and go, if you make more of the guns illegal, criminals won't pay attention. Well, then nothing should be illegal. Murder shouldn't be illegal because criminals murder people anyway. It is the worst, most pathetic attempt at an argument in favor of guns. You go, criminals! No, you can't say it's pointless restricting something because criminals won't pay any attention. Then nothing should be restricted. Absolutely nothing should be restricted because criminals will break the law anyway. It's stupid as shit, and you sound like a colossal fucking moron when you say it. Kesler, okay, you seem to be completely half-assing your opinion of what happened in Australia. Okay, First, straight out of the gate, I think it is very important to be realistic and acknowledge that Australia and America have very different cultures. And something that worked very effectively in Australia would not necessarily work as effectively in the US. But what the gun buyback in Australia was, it was basically, okay, we're changing the laws. You can no longer own this type of gun at all. And that's things like semi-automatic weapons, assault weapons. You cannot own them, okay? They are illegal. And I think that's a no-brainer, making it illegal. I said, now, the following things you can have, but there will be these restrictions. And they listed these restrictions. This is what you'll have to do to get a license to do that. Now, if you have one of the illegal weapons, you can hand them back and we will pay you the cost for them. If you have one of the ones that can be legal, but you don't want to jump through all these hoops to keep it legal, you can hand it in and we will pay you the cost of the gun and then we'll destroy it. If you try to keep one of the illegal guns, you are now a criminal, okay? You will be treated as a criminal if you have this in your possession. If you have one of the guns that can be legal, but you choose not to follow the legal path to keep possession, you will be a criminal. That's what happened in Australia. I don't think that's completely unworkable in the US. I just think the arguments, the talking points put out by the NRA and then parroted by so many people are complete bullshit and really stupid. And that's about all it's worth saying on that. Pablo, devil's advocate. Do I think Australians patting themselves on the back comes off a bit sanctimonious to Americans? Yes. Because there's lots that shits about Australia. Do I think Americans saying they shouldn't have any gun restrictions are completely fucking insane? Yes, I do. Do I think Americans treating the Second Amendment as if it's holy writ are fucking idiots? Yes, I do. I think that worship of the Second Amendment is fucking moronic. The idea of taking the words from someone 200 years ago when guns were fucking muskets and saying, I'm now going to apply that to modern weaponry. You're a fucking idiot. If you think that makes sense, you're a fucking idiot. So, and we were saying there might be 2,500 new guns sold in the US every day. There might be most of them semi-automatics, but it's a tiny, tiny, tiny percentage of the country who own guns. And it's like, what's the number? It's like a single digit percentage, like maybe less than 5% of the country owns way over half the guns. So like any sort of vaguely sensible gun restriction would only affect a tiny, tiny, tiny part of the population. Kesley, you live where people would literally kill you for their Second Amendment rights. Look, then you live in a shitty place, dude. My opinion, it's like, it makes no sense. It isn't logically supportable. You can just look at the reality of the number of people being killed by firearms in the States, and it's out of whack with everywhere in the world. And it's just like, and it's basically every argument, every talking point from the NRA is complete fucking horse shit. And so, I mean, what do you do? And I'm not saying that people who are arguing for gun control are immune to talking horse shit. Everyone talks shit at some point. But it's like the gun lobbies says the most ridiculous shit. And I'm just over it. Well, I'm like you, Wolfie. It never changes. I'm over it. It's like, you know, the next mass shooting happens. So fucking what? Everyone goes, oh, it's so upsetting. Why? Why is that upsetting? It just happened. Okay? It's going to keep happening. We know why it happens. It is really fucking obvious why it happens. Okay? Everyone can fucking see it. Anyone who says otherwise is just in denial. But I refuse to get upset about mass shootings. Fuck it, man. The people just don't care, so why should I? Bablito, yes, you make a good point. Australian media is lazy, the way they compare Australia to the US, saying, oh, this is our Donald Trump. Oh, yeah, and also, I'm with you, people not wanting to hear outsiders telling them how to run their society. Kesler, as I already said, I thoroughly acknowledge American culture is different to Australia, and what worked here, the same thing would not necessarily work there. If you're going to ask me, I'm going to tell you point blank. It's obvious which weapons should be completely banned because there is no use for them whatsoever apart from murdering a large number of people in a very short period of time. And anyone who says otherwise is absolutely full of shit. Let hunters keep their hunting weapons. Hey, let people keep pistols or shotguns in their home. Whatever. But AR-15s and similar weapons, it's just fucking lunacy. There is no defense for it. Anyone who defends it is full of shit. Hey, Patman. Because like, I am always honest. I think, and I don't pander, but I think the concept of arguing private citizens need military-style weapons is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Now, here's a thing. I'm going to do a shocking thing and concede a point to the gun lobby. One of the arguments I've heard why the NRA and other gun activists are so extreme with their absolutism on not wanting any gun restrictions is because they looked at what happened to cigarettes. You know, people used to smoke everywhere. Um, uh, and you know, then you weren't allowed to smoke on planes, you weren't allowed to smoke in offices, and the restrictions on smoking got more and more and more and more. And some people on the gun lobby side say, we see that happening. If we make any concession about gun control, people will push it further and further. And I will let you in on something that will happen. That would be me. I am, and this is me being on, like I said, I'm doing an outrageous, daring thing and conceding a point of the gun lobby that people will try to push the restrictions further. They absolutely will. As you were saying, Kessler, I don't think it really is a slippery slope argument, but I think taken in and of itself, if you got this restriction on guns, would you stop there? My answer would be no. No, absolutely not. You need to like cut it way back. But so there is some validity to that argument. So there you go. I can admit that the gun lobby says some things that are true. Todd Grayman, anyone who says otherwise is full of shit. It's a good argument. Some people are just full of shit. This whole thing about, oh, everyone's opinion is valid. No, it's not. Flat earthers are shit for brains fucking morons. They should not be entertained. They should not be given a platform. There is nothing that they have that's of value to offer. Flat earthers are full of shit. They've got nothing to offer. So go fuck yourself with that equivalence. Oh no, everyone's got something. No, they don't. Some people are full of shit. And I thoroughly believe anyone who tries to make a case for private citizens having military-grade weapons is full of shit. That weapon serves one purpose and one purpose only: murdering a large number of people in a short period of time. If you say otherwise, you're full of fucking shit. Okay? Stop saying everyone's opinion's valid. It fucking isn't. Lots of people spout opinions that have no validity whatsoever. So go fuck yourself with that, oh, everyone's opinion's got equal weight. No, it doesn't. Some people are stupid. Some people are liars. Some people argue in bad faith. And some people just have shit for brains. Okay? And I'm getting a real strong suspicion on which fucking camp you're in regards to shit for brains. I tell you, you're right, Celtic King's going to get flustered if I get too angry. There's a sexual element to that. But you're raising a point, Joe. How do flat earthers even breathe? It's like flat earthers, anti-vaxxers. There are so many bizarre, insane conspiracies and stuff that doesn't hold up to the slightest analysis. Like the most cursory analysis blows it out of the water. Like there's no ambiguity whatsoever. And these people just dig their heels in. And it's like, no. And that's the thing. There's no point engaging. People say, you should engage. There should be a discussion. Nazis should be given a platform. No, they fucking shouldn't. We know what Nazis want. Nazis want the extermination of people that they don't approve of. And that isn't acceptable. So fuck them. They don't deserve a platform. They don't deserve to be heard. There's no sort of the marketplace of ideas. It's like, no, go fuck yourself, you Nazi apologist piece of shit. Oh, 24, you got flat earthers on your favorite website. That would suck. But that's it. Don't engage with them, man. Like there is absolutely zero value in spending any time trying to reach someone like that. Because then it's full of crap. Hey, Wrestling Days, Big Pat, how you doing, buddy? Just adjusting some of my windows so I know what's happening. Yes, Wolfie, I do get angry from time to time. This and lazy arguing. I remember for those who don't have long memories, I haven't been around that long, Matt Groening, who invented The Simpsons, prior to The Simpsons, he had a newspaper comic strip, ran in independent newspapers in the US called Life is Hell, that was mostly about a rabbit called Binky. And it's really good. Like you can probably find back issues. There's probably a lot of it online. But there was lots. It ran for years. There was lots of it. Life is Hell. Binky appears in The Simpsons occasionally, actually. He, I was going somewhere. I had this bad language. He had one that said, I think we should ban bad language. And he said, I'm not talking about swearing or cursing. I'm talking about lazy language. And he went about lazy arguments. And it was really quite funny. Shatner, I sound like a baby argument. Pretty good one. If you need a license to read for a car, what a gun. Yes. Am I allowed to drive? Look, yeah. Look, my favorite joke is, why isn't there the same level of restriction on guns as there is on abortion in the US? Holding about a waiting period, making the person who wants to buy a gun watch videos of people who've died by gunshot, and yeah, licensing and a letter from the doctor and all that sort of things. Pablo, will we be able to get drunk and have a Tesla? Oh, absolutely. Self-driving cars, I think the change in as little as 10 years is going to blow people's minds. Self-driving cars will get better exponentially. And when that happens, insurance to drive your own car will cost thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And so only the ultra-rich will be able to drive their own cars. But we won't need them. It'll be self-driving cars. You just call them up and they take you where you want. Go out, get shit-faced and you have a little homing beacon in your phone and you stumble into a self-driving car, you don't even have to tell it where to go. It'll take you home. Monopoly, not to be a smartass. To what do I object? Nationalism or socialism in reflection of... Please don't do anything as stupid as saying the Nazis were socialist because it's a contraction of National Socialist Party. It's a stupid, inane argument, and I won't waste any more time on you. What do I object to? I object to ethnic cleansing. I object to the Nazi policy of murdering anyone who fell outside of the Aryan boundaries. Other ethnicities, Jewish people, gays, gypsies, dissidents. It's obvious. And as for you, you sad fucking loser piece of shit. The Nazi Party was disbanded after World War II. When did they be? The people who call themselves Nazis, you pathetic, shit-eating garbage heap of an excuse of a fucking human. The people with swastika tattoos, the people who read Mein Kampf, the people who do the Heil Hitler salutes, the people who worship Hitler, the people who want ethnic cleansing. Okay? Stop being such a cunt. That's what we call arguing in bad faith. Like, Nazis don't exist because the Nazis... Don't knock my drinks over, Lindsay. I swear to God. No, I swear to God. I don't know if you heard that. She's over there with some of my drinks, and I heard bottles knocking, and I told her not to mess with them, and one of her paws went out, what, like this? Bloody cats, man. Okay. Because you're right. We'll be calling anyone who drives their own car a complete fucking snob, because you'll have to be super rich to drive your own car. And I am not joking. When self-driving cars are proven to be safe and the liability for causing an accident when you're driving your own car drives insurance premiums into the tens of thousands of dollars a year. So I'm absolutely not joking when I say we'll be in self-driving cars because it'll be too expensive not to. 24, I don't think flying cars will ever be a thing. Because you can imagine even a minor accident with flying cars, and they go out of control, they hit buildings, hit other things, debris rains down on people in the street. I don't think flying cars will ever be a thing unless we get really, 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 really smart. Flying cars would definitely have to be self-driving. Humans couldn't control flying cars. That would be too dangerous. Shell Former, when's the last time I saw a paper newspaper on public transport? Last time I was on public transport. People do still do that. Musical Agia, I think you sum it up. Car driving will be as rare as pilots flying their own private plane. Enthusiasts with lots of money. Pat, you're playing basketball. Nice. Kesley, you're saying drones that fly pedestrians. They have one in Kuwait, I think, somewhere in the Arab Emirates. I think it was Kuwait. The super rich people actually did have a taxi drone. So, yeah, it's a novelty at the moment, but the idea of everyone flying, I think there's no way you will have flying transport for humans unless it's completely self-driving. You might be, yeah, Kessler, it might be Dubai. It's Kuwait or Dubai. It's probably Dubai. Everything crazy happens in Dubai. I was just thinking of something. It was a fun read. Self-driving cars short story. Is this it? Car Wars? Yes, okay. There's a writer I like called Cory Doctorow. He writes speculative fiction, near future science fiction all the time. He explores a lot of the ideas we're looking at today and where might they go. And Melbourne's Deakin University paid him to write some speculative fiction about self-driving cars. and where we might end up. Now, I'm going to put the link here in the chat, but don't worry if you don't get it. Just try and remember, do a search online of Cory Doctorow's self-driving car short story. It's really good. He raises some really interesting ideas. Monopoly, you can still hear Nazis. Nazi identity was an important aspect of why people felt they could safely associate as possible people in Germany were not privy to the atrocities. Monopoly, okay, you raise an interesting point. What we know now, beyond doubt, is a huge number of German citizens who, after the war, pretended they didn't know about the final solution, absolutely, categorically knew, were complicit, turned in Jewish neighbors, turned in any undesirables. They liked to think they weren't part of it, and they fucking were. This is obviously not every German citizen was, but and not everyone who was aware approved of it, but it was a lot more prevalent than people like to say. There was a 404 on that link, was there? That's really weird. Because okay, so I don't know why. I'm going to try once more. If the link doesn't work, then yeah, if you want to read it, because it's a really fun, interesting read about what could happen with self-driving cars, just do a search on Cory Doctorow's self-driving car story. It's called Car Wars. Oh, 24, not joking. Self-driving cars means no more parking. You know how much of an urban centre is set aside for parking? And with self-driving car, so much more real estate would become available. That would be one of the amazing side effects. And the whole thing of, like, there would be more lanes for traffic, so traffic would go more smoothly. Because most traffic jams are caused by people driving like assholes. And if the cars were being driven, according to the same algorithms, and they weren't under the control of an asshole, then traffic would be much faster, and we'd have way more real estate available. It's the average office building has 20 levels of parking. It's just like there would be so much more real estate available. Shell Former, does Tesla manufacture all the components that could fail? I don't know. Jatma, you're probably right. There are probably no heritage listed car parks, so there won't be that objection to it. 24. I think we've all probably had some asshole on the road. You'll just, oh my god, I've got to know. I think I need another drink. It's just ice in here. I need to get a bit more ice. Make myself another drink. I'm just trying to get rid of a few things. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I get a little bit more ice. This and this. Okay. So. Monopoly. Could we see Nazis analogous to the way US administration support bombs in Yemen by Saudi Arabia? West ignores it for economic reasons. I don't know if that's to do with Nazis or just people are shit, honestly. People turn a blind eye to, there's always, oh my God, aren't those terrorists awful? And it's like, oh, our government is responsible for bombings that killed hundreds of thousands of people. Yeah, but it's different. That was us. Put that in, the green drink, and just a little bit of the red drink, the absinthe. What am I doing? Just, where's my thing? Just a little bit. Okay, that might have been a bit much, but that's okay. That's okay. We're all friends here. Panoply, in other words, if it's economically expedient, we might ignore things done by partners. Well, we ignore a shit ton of things done by Saudi Arabia, don't we? I am not in favor of us being so friendly to Saudi Arabia and some of the other Gulf states, quite honestly. Another possibly unpopular point of view, but I think we turn a blind eye to far too much. Batman, didn't Tesla release their car software under a free or open source license? I do not know. I have not been paying that much attention. Jahatma, here's a good question. What's ethically worse? War for ideology or religion, or war for profit? Well, what makes you think the two are mutually exclusive would be my thing. Yeah, I don't know how you can separate the two myself. Pablo, do I think when VR headsets get advanced enough, we'll get rid of monitors? I think what we will end up with is a sort of glasses, or maybe a contact lens. There are prototype contact lenses now, but basically something that paints the image on our eyeball. I think we're going to see a lot of augmented reality in our future, stuff overlaid on the real world. I think VR is going to be a niche entertainment thing, but I think augmented reality is probably going to be because Tara, you have to go to pee. Man, okay, a couple of people noticed at the start I was a little bit late. I realized at 10:02 I really had to poop. And this is, I think we can share this. I think we're all adults who can share the fact that I realized just before I was going to go live, I really had to poop, and waiting another 2 hours would be a bad idea. So I was a minute or two late because I had to. 24, be right back, got a wink. Well, we should share these things. Panoply, would I consider Saudi Arabia to be a state of the US because of its effect on reserve currency? Oh my God, I think Saudi Arabia has more control over the US than the US does over Saudi Arabia. Yeah, so, I mean, you know, it's obvious why we let Saudi Arabia get away with shit. Oil. Am not a fan of the pandering to the oil states. Jamie, your question about monetary profit, I mean, how would you declare war? You would get a lot of people who argue that both world wars were about profit and controlling economies. Oh my God. 24, did I consider investing in Bitcoin in 2011? No. It is one of those things, though, that you look at and go, holy fuck, I could literally have made millions of dollars with a couple $100 to a couple $1,000 at the right time. As like, that's mind-blowing to see things. I mean, so many of those what's the generic term for the Bitcoin stuff, the something currencies, cryptocurrencies. So many of the cryptocurrencies are an obvious scam. Now you can level the same accusation against the existing economy. The existing economies are a shell game, and the government's like pulling the wool over our eyes. And but I don't know, the cryptocurrencies are just, so many of them are so obviously a scam. Monopoly, you do raise a good point. It's not just about the oil, but that OPEC agrees to trade in US dollars. That's one of the popular theories. My mate Aidsy certainly pushes it. One of the main reasons the Bush regime wanted to go after Iraq, because Saddam had been talking about, I'm not going to trade in US dollars anymore. I'm going to trade in Russian currency or Chinese currency or whatever. I have no idea how true that is. That's an interesting point, Shelf Warmer. The amount of electricity being used to support cryptocurrencies is bad. Right. And Pablo, you're right. The fiat currency is an invention. One of my favorite author I quite like, Terry Pratchett. He's famous for a lot of things, but particularly for a series of books, fantasy books called the Discworld series. They're set in a world called the Discworld, which is a flat world which rests on the back of 4 elephants who are on the top of a giant turtle. And while the Discworld stuff started out as just fun fantasy stories, very sort of Dungeons and Dragons themed. As he went on, because he wrote a lot of them over the years, they were all basically social commentary, and some of the later ones, incredibly explicit social commentary. Some of his later ones, where he deals with the fakeness of money. The book's actually called Making Money, which is a sequel to one that was about the post office, which I forget what it was called. But he's basically in his, and they are really funny books, in his funny, wacky fantasy world, he's explaining to you how shit in our world works. Very, very bloody sneaky, quite honestly. Very sneaky. Oh, Charlie, soul music is a classic. You are right, soul music. His version of Death is great. Soul music's about rock and roll, basically. There's one called Moving Pictures, which is about Hollywood and whatnot. Pat Talks, how many trolls do I block? I do not keep track. I don't know. It varies. Like if some sad act, like Sad Act of Assholes or the Shit Stain, does an attack video on me, I could end up with hundreds of fuckheads piling on in a single night. But yeah, I don't know. The short answer is a lot. But I'll be saying, if you like soul music, check out Stax Records. Okay, Stax Records, is that another book? The Shit Stain. That guy, this complete fucking wanker, who's a complete fucking coward who won't even show his face, calls himself Bearing, and we were making up slanderous terms for him in one of the live streams, and someone came up with, because the icon he uses now looks quite a bit like the Berenstain Bears, and so he was the Stain Bear, and all his little groupies were the Shit Stains. So yes, I meant him when I said Shit Stain. Oh, okay, Panoply. You're talking about a soul music label. Okay, Soul Music was the name of one of Terry Pratchett's book, which was about rock and roll and involved death getting involved with a rock and roll band. Yeah, the copyright infringer. He had to delete all his videos at one point because he used a cartoon as his icon that he didn't have the rights to. And surprisingly enough, a commercial company didn't want their image associated with an ultra-right, misogynist, racist Nazi apologist. Who knew? And that's the other funny thing. Like, can't stop making jokes at Alex Jones's expense at the moment, because apparently his channel's up to 2 community strikes on YouTube, and it's for doing those attack videos. They're not conspiracies, they're blatant lies aimed at attacking people. So he's got 2 copyright strikes in 1 week. No, not copyright, community strikes. A third one means gone forever. And people are going, but censorship's not censorship, it's capitalism. YouTube is finally waking up to this wave of hate channels. Advertisers don't want to be associated with it. Advertisers are saying, hey, we're not giving you any money if that money goes to fucking Nazi apologists or people who attack kids who survived a school shooting. No, that's not, no, we're not giving you money for that. And so all these people, it's hilarious. They call themselves, like, they say they're anti-communist, they're definitely capitalists. But when someone makes a decision that's based purely in capitalism, they go, that's not fair. They call themselves libertarians, but they argue, no, a private company should be forced to do whatever I want them to do. It's like, good God. Panoply, The Man in the High Castle. I haven't read that, but it's quite well known. Alternate history books. They're fun. I found some online that were free or cheap. A website called Baen Books, B-A-E-N, Baen Books. They have a free library. It's interesting. They publish a lot of speculative fiction and science fiction. They publish a lot of what I guess you would call right-wing writers. I think that's fair to say. A lot of their writers, very militaristic, very right-wing. Doesn't mean they're not good writers. Some of them very good writers. But they've got a real thing for speculative fiction. And one series that I quite enjoyed, and there's quite a lot in the series, and I haven't read all of it, it's set a mining town in West by God, Virginia, gets transplanted into the middle of the 100 Years' War, and they try and form alliances. They're in Europe in the middle of the 100 Years' War. Let's see if I can. I think it's called 1642. I think the first one's called 1642. 32. 1632. The series is also known as the Ring of Fire series. I found them really entertaining. I think, yeah, it's a bit up and down in quality. It was good. Pablito, what do I think about Hillary Clinton allegedly suggesting Julian Assange could be killed by Jones trial? Everybody in the Republican Party at one point said Julian Assange should be executed for espionage. And the majority of the Democrats said the same thing. I think it's wrong. I also think Julian Assange has turned into a complete knob, by the way. But it's weird to single out Hillary Clinton when basically the entire Republican Party said at one point Julian Assange should be executed for espionage. Pablito, do I think the likes of Jordan Peterson and or Ben Shapiro articulate some legitimate concerns? I don't know either of them in depth. What I have seen of Ben Shapiro, he's a cockhead. Jordan Peterson, I'm trying to place who that is. I think I know who it is. I will do a quick search so I know who he is. Let me have. Oh yeah, that's who I thought it was. Okay, he's a dick too. I think like famously, there's that interview. Jordan Peterson. I think it was done for British TV, and the interviewer kept jumping across him and cutting him off and putting words into his mouth, and she came across as stupid. But I've seen other interviews when you should be reasonable to Jordan Peterson, as far as I can see, because when I've seen interviews recorded with Jordan Peterson where the interviewer's being reasonable, it's like you're giving him enough rope and he hangs himself. I think he's an arsehole. I've seen enough of him to go, he's an arsehole. Can an arsehole say something that's worth discussing? Of course. Of course, there's a bunch of people who will say I'm an arsehole. Ugh. But yeah, no, I think he's an arsehole. Tom DeLonge. Wait, he's a musician. Okay. He's scamming people. I have not heard that. If I searched Google for Tom DeLonge, oh, Blink-182. Oh, okay. That does sound like a scam. Interestingly, if you do a search on Tom DeLonge is scamming people, it drops straight into, yeah, he seems to be scamming people. Monopoly showing Moorcock was a hard left anarchist and feminist. Trying to think if I've read Moorcock. I read a lot of classic sci-fi. I mean, obviously I've heard of him and Robert Sheckley. Not 100% sure if I've read them. Mofo Sign, have I heard of Professional Australia, a union for professionals? That sounds intriguing. Celtic King, you want to massage my neck and head? Massage this shoulder because I have fucked this shoulder up, and I'm actually going to. It's okay at the moment, actually. But, ow, that hurts though. Like all the way up there. Like not like I'm in horrible. I was before in horrible pain, but ow, that hurts. I've been going to a physio because I fucked this shoulder up. Hopefully, it's nothing wrong. Yeah, 24. That Tom DeLonge stuff looks super weird. Looks super weird. It's amazing how many hits searching Tom DeLonge is scamming people came up with. Apparently, the world generally is not real happy with Tom DeLonge and his carry-ons. So yeah, people go weird. It's like Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins has gone hard right conspiracy theory misogynist bullshit. It's really weird. Celtic King, you have a bagpipe and bongo band. That sounds. I could hit things. No, like so what? I've got no sense of rhythm. I've never been musical. I've never learned a musical instrument. It's one of my big regrets in life, not learning a musical instrument, actually. And also not being able to sing after my voice broke. Prior to my voice breaking, I was a very good soprano. And then my voice broke, and I never had voice training after that. And so now I can't sing in tune. Pat Talks, my favourite part of Melbourne. That would depend on what we were talking about, because there are different parts of Melbourne that are good for different things. I mean, I like the city. I think the city's pretty good. I think you can have a good time down at St Kilda, down near the beach. So yeah, in terms of what's my favourite part, it depends on what it is I'm trying to do. Charlie Clinton, you can play the pink oboe. A. Yeah, Monopoly Melbourne's my favourite city too. I grew up in the country, lived in Sydney for 10 years. I've been in Melbourne for 20 years. And I visited the other capital cities. definitely prefer Melbourne. And yes, I agree. Fitzroy, St Kilda are both good. I do like the different inner suburbs. They all have their charm. I see. I'm old, okay, so I don't. My idea of going out is going out to dinner, cocktails, maybe to a movie. So the environments that have um, good cafes, bars, restaurants, I quite like. Monopoly, where in Sydney do I live? Mainly in the inner west. I started off like way inner, like Redfern, Chippendale. Uh, Lived in Newtown for a while, and I sort of progressively moved further west as rents went up. I lived in like Petersham for a while. Furthest west I ended up was Ashfield, but I was basically inner west is where I lived in Sydney. I used to live inner west in Melbourne. Lived in Footscray and then Sunshine. And Yarraville, but then moved over St Kilda way when I met the now Mrs. Angry, because it's where she was living. 24, random question. Where do you remember Earth being in the Milky Way? How do they describe it in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the unfashionable end of the Western Spiral Arm? I'm not 100% sure what you're asking there. This Foxification, good evening, here for the last half hour. Oh, you had a job in Ashfield. When I was in Sydney, I only ever really worked in the CBD, I think. I'm trying to think if I did work in a call centre for a courier company in Mosman for a while. But when I got like proper jobs, when I started working in IT, I worked in the CBD in various places. In Melbourne, most of the time, because I'm a contractor, so I move around a lot. Most of the time, I work in the CBD. I worked at Melbourne University for a while, which is in Carlton. I've worked on St Kilda Road. I worked for Yarra Valley Water, which is out in the suburbs a bit. That's the furthest out in the suburbs I've worked. Pat talks, Melbourne house prices are too expensive. I agree. But in fact, if I had fucking bought a house when I first moved here 20 years ago, fuck, I'd be worth so much money now. Like we had the question before, oh, do you wish you'd invested in Bitcoin back in the day? Yeah, but even something as mundane as if I'd have got into real estate when I first moved to Melbourne, it would be fucking worth so much more now. Although then, because I went through a relationship breakup and I would have lost everything. So here's the thing: people wonder, well, like MRAs who harass me. I don't know. I think they assume I've never had a negative experience in a relationship with a female. I've had really fucking negative experiences in relationships. I've been really severely fucked over in relationships. It just didn't turn me into a colossal asshole. It's as simple as that. Your daughter's on an art excursion in Melbourne and Hobart. Cool. Cool. That does sound good. 24, you want to be a millionaire and buy, you need to be considerably more than a millionaire to buy those apartments near the Opera House, my friend. I think you need to whack down like 10 million on those. Those are crazy expensive. Pablito with the big questions. Do I think humans will outlive democracy? Wow. I don't know. I think the way we live now and the political system we have now is so different to how it was 150 years ago. I think 150 years in the future, the way things are will be unrecognizable. People might still use the word democracy, But humans being humans, I think the way things are run in 100, 150 years would be unrecognizable to us today. Oh, excellent, Panoply. Your daughter's an artist and she's already networking with gallery owners. Moxie, indeed. 24. You think we're going to become a millionaire from Facebook ads? I'm intrigued because I think Facebook ads, but okay, because I used Facebook ads for something legitimate and it didn't work at all. Maybe it works for scams. Is that what you're suggesting? We should all run scams on Facebook ads? Yeah. You are right, Miss Foxification. By 2100, this is going to be a very different world. If we're super lucky, it's not going to be a Mad Max style fucking hellscape. Oh, 24, you're legit. I like it. Good. Client-based service. Erin, you're not sure the planet will exist in 2100? Oh, the planet will exist. Will humans still be here? I think humans will, even in an absolute worst case scenario, I think humans will continue to exist in some form. On a long enough timeline, we'll come back. Oh, for fuck's sake. Samuel, Sargon of Akkad is debating Jason Unruh. Okay, I did actually see that reference. I have actually zero idea on this Jason Unruh guy. I tried to look at his YouTube channel and he seemed to be mocking communism. Are you suggesting sad fuck of assholes is pro-capitalism and Jason Unruh is pro-communism? Because I don't know that dude at all. Oh, yeah, if you want to talk variants on communism, Mofo Signs, your guy, is very into that. What is he saying? Yanis Varoufakis, which is probably not how he pronounces it. Used to be an economist for the Valve game, studied economics and MMOs, and he tried to apply it in Greece. Check out his TED Talk. Yanis, Y-A-N-I-S, Varoufakis, V-A-R-O-U-F-A-K-I-S. Apparently, if you want to hear some interesting ideas on democracy, check out his TED Talk. Samuel, you're saying that other dude is a Marxist. Okay. I will take your word for that because I have zero exposure to the guy. When I saw that announcement, I did look him up, and honestly, he seemed to be taking the piss. But what the fuck do I know? But in regards to what do I think of that? Well, we've already had a discussion about masturbation. And honestly, when I look at that, all I see is a whole bunch of masturbation and not the good kind. Monopoly, you're feeling humanity doesn't matter, the world doesn't give a shit if we're here or not. Yeah, I agree. Humans thinking they are the center of everything is very narcissistic. Samuel, I admire your faith, my friend. You think it'll be a good debate. I think I have a prior engagement slamming my dick in a car door that would be more enjoyable. Hello? Kinda, yeah. Okay. Yes. So, Pablo, do I think the end of humanity will coincide with the end of representative democracy? Oh, no. I think humans have proven to be very resilient living under dictatorships. Lots of people like living under dictatorships. You look at how long monarchies lasted as a real thing. How some dictatorships really thrive. No, representational democracy could completely go out the window. We could have fascist dictatorships, regencies, whatever, and people would be completely happy under it, basically. Democracy is overrated. I mean, it's the system I prefer, but the idea that humans will stop without it is like, yeah. This foxification, I think you hit the nail on the head as to why I will be shutting my dick in a car door rather than watching that debate. Is a good debate is where it's possible that someone will change their mind. And sad fuck of assholes doesn't seem like he's going in with the idea that he might change his mind. No. 24, you think we're done by 2020? Good on you, buddy. No, Pat, that I legit answered my phone. That was my daughter who wanted me to pick her up from a train station because she's been working. Basically telling her not really in a position to do that. So, yeah. Does that make me a bad parent? I don't know. Yeah, you're right, mofo. People lived happily under kings and kingdoms after ancient Greeks developed democracy. This foxification in Russia's new missile may have bought us some time. That's super surreal that Putin just came out with, I've got a big fucking missile. I was like, okay, I know he's got elections coming up, but it's not like he's under threats. He just murders people who oppose him. So that was super weird to me that Putin just came out with, I've got super missiles that can fuck up the US. I think he's just baiting Trump, saying you're my bitch and I own you. Pablo, would I say authoritarian regimes might be more inclined to use nuclear warheads? Not necessarily. It depends on how stable the dictator is. See, because anyone sensible, this is what with the US and the USSR back in the Cold War, they had the principle of mutually assured destruction. Like, no one can launch a nuke because then the other guy will, and then all the nukes will fly, and then everyone will get wiped out. So if you were a fascist dictator and there were other dictatorships around the world, you basically say to each other, dude, don't, if you launch nukes, I will, and then we're all dead and we lose everything. So I don't think a totalitarian is by definition more likely to launch nukes because they lose their empire. If you launch nukes, it's all over. So the authoritarian loses his empire if he launches nukes. So, yeah. Well, Panoply, there is the, yes, I've had a drink, so I shouldn't drive. But I just meant generally. Lindsay's stretching. Her foot just came into frame. Say hello to everyone, Mimsy. Hello. Yes, she likes to be spoiled. Scratch me, scratch me. Yes, okay. It's enough spoiling. My first one saying the TED Talk you're referring to is called Capitalism Will Eat Democracy Unless We Speak Up. Okay. Pablito, look, obviously when I say that, that's speculation. But that's all we've got. We've only got speculation. We don't know for sure. Samuel, enjoying a spliff. Good for you. And as you say, Pablito, the only nation that has used a nuke against another nation was a democracy, not a dictatorship. I thought everyone would like if I showed Mimsy. But sure. My lovely dame, no, Alex Jones is not gone. It turns out he was overstating things. But he does have 2 community strikes. He could be gone at any time, but he's not gone yet. But I love taunting Alex Jones supporters because if you support that fucking liar, I have no time for you whatsoever. Yeah. Misfoxification. The missile. You're right. Look, but the missile defense system was always useless. I don't know. Putin's just doing some chest beating. I don't know what the fuck that was about. 24, you raise a good point. Aren't you meant to hide your military secrets? I just think that was just a Putin being macho man. I genuinely think Putin was just trying to fuck with Trump. It's just like, hey, bitch, I own you. Like to like to dislike ratio. We've got Look, basically, Mimsy's going for a walk. Pat talks. I have a bit of a thing with trolls because I'm outspoken, and these free speech trolls don't like anyone who uses their speech to say anything they disagree with. So they leave troll comments and dislikes on my videos. It's not important. It's a bit of a laugh, really. Yeah, Pablito, I think it was bait. I just think he was fucking with Trump. It was like, okay, Trump, you've been super nice to me and sucking up to me, but I'm just saying you're my bitch and I own you. So, yeah. Putin's playing 10-dimensional chess. I don't really think so, Samuel. I think Putin's a fairly shallow macho man. I don't think there's a lot of subtlety in what he does at all. My lovely dame, some of the trolls are fan of Alex Jones. I was deliberately inflaming Alex Jones fans recently, so yeah. Oh yeah, Jatmer, I did see the video where Putin boasted how his missile could get all the way to Florida. Well, he was saying it could go literally anywhere in the world. It's self-powering and could go anywhere, and there's nothing he can't hit. It was like, and you're right, Miss Foxification. You can sum it up as he's saying, my button's bigger. That's ridiculous. But I know he's got an election coming out, and he wanted to big note himself, and he did it by bait. But isn't it fucking weird that Trump didn't respond? And Putin's making all these threats, and Trump's tweeting about Alec Baldwin. Isn't it super weird that Trump didn't respond to this? A hostile foreign power just went, fuck you, America. I can nuke you anytime I want. And Trump didn't respond at all. I found that so weird, so surreal. But it's just like, whatever, dude. I've got no idea what you're doing. Make your threats and be angry and shit. But is the thing that blows my mind is the way Trump supporters lie to themselves. Like they've got this whole thing of Trump is a tough guy, and he's obviously not. He's a very weak person's parody of a tough guy. He's obviously a useless sack of shit. Like he's so weak. It's bizarre. It's just all bluster with nothing behind it. Like he's the stereotype of a school bully who shouts in your face and threatens you, and you go one pop, and they go, "Why'd you do that? I'm going to tell the teachers that you hit me." It's like he's so obviously weak, insecure, pathetic, and self-serving. So, and I don't know. People are just weird, I guess. 24, you think Australia will surprise everyone by coming out with the biggest missile ever? That would be a surprise. Panoply, it is an indictment on the intelligence of the electorate. But what's interesting is he is definitely an indictment of the existing political structure. Like people go, I like it because he tells it like it is. And it's like, well, he doesn't tell it like it is. He lies more. But yet, like, people say, can you say something good about Trump? I go, well, he successfully completely tore apart the Republican Party machine. They did everything they could think of to try and stop him, and he just fucked them. He just absolutely fucked them. And, well, Pablo, it does raise the question of Clinton wasn't a great candidate. She made some terrible tactical errors, but Clinton's only one person that he beat. There were 13 people in the Republican field, including half a dozen who were regarded as way ahead of Trump, and he fucking smashed them all. You got to give him that. The Republican Party machine did everything they could think of to stop Trump, and he just fucking smashed them. And that was all the people who tried to take a principled stand against Trump collapsed and now suck up to him. I mean, like I say, you want me to say something positive about Trump? It's like, well, he fucking smashed the system. He did that. Monopoly, I would have supported Sanders above Clinton just because I would have wanted to see what he do. Clinton was obvious and predictable. She was she's part of the party machine. There were not going to be any surprises with Clinton. It was very obvious what she was going to do. With Sanders, who knows what he was going to do? At least it would have been interesting. And that's why in the previous round of elections, I was more in favor of Obama than Clinton because I thought Obama might do something different. As it turns out, once Obama got in, he just became part of the Democratic Party machine. I think his presidency was almost indistinguishable from what a Clinton presidency would have been. Yeah, Sanders was interesting. 24, I don't really agree with you with what you're saying that Clinton would have started a war because Clinton is part of a machine. And the machine would be destabilized by a significant conflict. She would have continued all the military actions that Obama did, who just continued all the military actions that Bush instigated, drone strikes on civilians, extrajudicial executions and all that sort of thing. But I don't believe that talking point about Clinton would have started a war. Trump is much more likely to cause a significant conflict because he's undisciplined. Trump's dangerous. Clinton wasn't dangerous. Clinton doesn't want to start a war. Clinton just wants to be the center of attention and have the power and be part of the party machine. Trump's unstable. He's not a maverick. He's not crazy. He's mentally unstable, and that's dangerous. Pablito, she is hawkish, but in the same way Obama is, because they're both part of that party machine. They are hawkish within certain parameters, whereas Trump is fucking outside of parameters of basic human decency. Panoply, I agree with you that Obama could have done much more, but he was facing a very hostile Congress and Senate for most of his time. And honestly, the Democratic Party machine kind of shit as well. They need to just fucking clear the decks. They need to get rid of all the old people and bring on a new guard, as far as I'm concerned, because all the fucking old faces in the Democrats are just shit. "24, he didn't do the thing he said he would do." That is interesting. What is the thing he said he would do? Tara, yeah, the Republicans definitely made life very hard for Obama. You know, he's still, with all the hostility, he did remarkably well. He's much more effective than Trump. But yeah, you know, ultimately fell short of potential. I think, like I said, I felt more favorably disposed towards Obama than Clinton because Clinton's just part of the party machine, and I thought Obama might be something different. But when Obama got in, uh, he just became part of the party machine. I think his presidency was no different to what about Clinton presidency. Oh, Murphy, so what about Australia? Australian politics is a shit show, man. It's fucking amateur hour. It's like, well, you know, I could talk about real stuff that matters. It's like the equivalent of talking about world politics. You're talking about like the Globe Theatre in London doing Shakespeare. Let's talk about Australian politics, which is like uh, a suburban theatre restaurant doing a sexy spoof of a Harry Potter film. It's just fucking no. Australian politics is just a shit show at the moment. Samuel Trump's tariff plan is fucking garbage, and he's going to be torpedoed. He was just brain farting again, you know, fucking Bone Spurs McBrain fart. That's my witty name I'm calling him now, by the way. Bone Spars McBrain fart. He just fucking says shit. I'm going to have a trade war, and they're going to go, no, you're not. No, you're not, because that shit you said would destroy the American economy. Okay, you're an idiot. I know you've sold this lie for years about you being the big businessman who does deals, but you're not. You're incompetent, and the shit you just said is just fucking ridiculous. Ha! Oh my god, Mofo. Australia is fan art of the USA. Up until recently, it was fan art of England. But yeah, now it's morphed into fan art of the US. Yeah, that's a fair call, actually. See you, Pat, man. I'll be gone soon, too. Yeah, Miss Foxification. This whole trade war thing makes no sense whatsoever. Pablito, do I think it's justified for an Australian minister to cancel permanent residency of a British or Kiwi citizen that commits a violent crime? I think that is the law, isn't it? I could be wrong, but I think it's the law that if you are a foreign national, and that includes our close cultural cousins in the UK or New Zealand, I think it is the law that a foreign national who has permanent residency can be drop kicked out of the country. Panoply, you think it's fair to say Obama led to Trump? I think Trump was an expression of people who were terrified of straight old white men not being the only power in the US anymore. And I think that terrified a bunch of people. And it did lead them to vote for Trump. Panopoly, wow. Obama needed to be better and need to be a noble man. Well, I'm not going to really argue with that. 24, what do I think about marriage equality in Australia? I think it took too long and the process by which it came about was stupid, but at least we have it now. Oh, Pablito, doing about foreigners suspected of a crime but not prosecuted? I mean, you start to get into a really fucking dodgy area. Are you saying that's what's happening? I mean, yeah, you're into really dodgy areas if you're just going, I suspect that person's bad. But I mean, fucking under John Howard, like he wanted to make thought crime a thing, that you would be prosecuted for thinking that the government was bad. If you had an opinion that the government was shit, he wanted to make that a crime. It's like, what the fuck? This is the party of free speech, small government, the individual saying, oh, but if you criticize the government, we're going to say that's sedition, and we're going to prosecute you for that. It's like, oh, okay. Okay, so if I preach that the government is bad, that's a crime. Okay, good. And yeah, fucking Dutton is a fucking psychopath. But hopefully the fact I conceded my last call means I respect you better. Oh, look, I think the office of US president fucks people over. I could point to a dozen things that, in my opinion, Obama failed in. Though I think the worst parts of the Obama regime was the expansion of the surveillance state, which did happen under him, prosecution, really aggressive prosecution of whistleblowers, which I think is very bad, and the expansion of what's basically extrajudicial executions, drone strikes on civilians that the administration decided they didn't like the look at, with no due process. This included killing American citizens, which is absolutely against the law for the government to execute someone just because they don't like them when there's been no due process. Obama seriously expanded the Bush doctrine, which started that, but Obama expanded everything Bush did about surveillance state, prosecute whistleblowers, use drone strikes on civilians. All fucking bad, and he's guilty of those. Are my opinion, those are the worst things he did. So yeah. Oh yeah, Gitmo, Miss Fox. Okay, he did try to shut down Gitmo, but the Republicans wouldn't let him. I don't think Gitmo's his fault. He didn't expand Gitmo. He contracted it, and he tried to shut it down, but the Republicans wouldn't let him. That's one thing I don't blame Obama for, Gitmo. But there's a bunch of other stuff I do. Yes. Yeah, you're right. Monopoly, there were drone strikes in Pakistan, Nepal, Afghanistan, other parts of the Middle East. So, yeah. But, yeah, what a fun up note to finish on, because it's 10 o'clock now. So I'm going to go home. I mean, to bed. To bed. I'm going to finish. I'm an old man. It's 10 o'clock, which is my bedtime. So I thank you most sincerely for your time tonight. I've had a very enjoyable time. I think while we may have had some contentious discussions, I think we had productive discussions, and I really enjoyed them. Okay, do I think the NRA may lobby for citizens to have access to firearms mounted on drones? I mean, the first time there's some sort of terrorist attack with a drone, shit's going to get real. Anyway, thank you all very much for your time. As per usual, I've really enjoyed it. I will be back. I think AIDSy's coming over tomorrow. I'm going to try and make a pre-recorded video tomorrow. I'll probably do another live stream on Thursday. We'll see how that goes. Absolutely awesome seeing all you wonderful people and having some fun and contentious conversations. It's always good. Look after yourself. And yeah, let's try and fool the Google algorithm that people like me and do a thumbs up on the stream. And I'll see you all again very soon. Thank you for your time, and bye now.